You're too much. You've heard it. Maybe not in those exact words. But you've felt the meaning behind every unanswered text, every friendship that quietly dissolved, every relationship that ended with someone saying they just couldn't reach you. And the cruelest part, you watched it happen. You saw them pulling away. And something in you, something automatic, almost involuntary, helped them leave faster. You didn't want them to go, but you couldn't stop making it easier for them to. And nobody told you why. Psychology does. Because people who push others away aren't broken. They're not toxic. They're not incapable of love. They are people who learned, through very specific, very painful experiences, that closeness is dangerous. And their nervous system never forgot the lesson. Here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. Think of every person who pushes others away as someone handed a locked box early in life. Inside that box is everything they feel, their warmth, their depth, their desperate need for connection. But somewhere along the way, the person who was supposed to hold that box safely dropped it, or worse, opened it and used what they found as a weapon. So the person made a decision, not a conscious one, not a dramatic one, just a quiet cellular level conclusion: if I never hand the box to anyone, no one can drop it. The pushing away isn't rejection, it's protection. Psychologists call this an avoidant attachment style, and it doesn't develop because someone chose to be emotionally unavailable. It develops because their early environment taught them that vulnerability leads to pain, that needing people leads to disappointment, that the safest form of closeness is keeping just enough distance to protect yourself from the fall. But here's where it gets more complicated and more painful. People with avoidant patterns don't actually want distance. Study after study in attachment research shows that avoidant individuals feel loneliness just as deeply, sometimes more deeply, than those who wear their need for connection openly. The difference is their nervous system has been wired to treat intimacy like a threat. So the closer someone gets, the louder the internal alarm sounds, and the louder the alarm, the stronger the urge to create space, to start a fight, to go cold, to manufacture distance before the other person can take it from them. They don't push people away because they feel too little. They push people away because they feel too much, and they have no safe container for it. You might recognize this in yourself. The way you self-sabotage right when something good is happening. The way you pick fights over nothing when someone gets too close. The way you suddenly lose interest the moment someone shows real, sustained interest in you. The way you tell yourself you're just independent, when what's really happening is you're terrified. Not of people, of needing them. Because needing someone gives them power over you. And power, in your experience, has never been safe. Here's what most people don't understand: they're not doing it to hurt you. They're doing it because somewhere in their history, love came with conditions. Approval had to be earned. Affection was given, then suddenly, without warning, taken back. They learned to never get too comfortable, because comfortable was always the moment before the rug got pulled. So they developed a skill, a devastating, self-defeating skill. They learned to leave before they could be left. Psychologist John Bowlby, who built the foundation of modern attachment theory, found that our earliest bonds literally shape the architecture of how we expect relationships to work. If those early bonds were inconsistent, warm one moment, cold the next, the nervous system learns to stay in constant low-grade anticipation, always waiting for withdrawal, always braced for abandonment. And because you're always braced for it, you start to feel it even when it isn't coming. And then you make it real. You push, you distance, you create the very outcome you were trying to prevent. Psychologists call this a self-fulfilling prophecy of abandonment. And it is one of the most painful loops a human being can be trapped inside, because every time it happens it confirms the original wound. See? I knew they'd leave. They always leave. But what they don't see, what they can never see from inside the loop, is that they wrote the ending themselves. There's another layer to this that almost no one talks about. Some people who push others away don't do it through coldness. They do it through intensity. They overwhelm people. They love too loudly, too quickly, then panic and pull away. They test people, sometimes without realizing it, placing impossible demands to see who will stay. They create chaos in calm moments because calm feels unfamiliar. Because somewhere in their nervous system, peace feels like the quiet before something goes wrong. If you grew up in an unpredictable environment, stability doesn't feel like safety. It feels like a trap. Like being lulled into relaxing right before the floor disappears. So you recreate chaos, not because you want it, because it's the only emotional landscape you know how to navigate. And here's the hardest truth of all. Pushing people away works. In the short term, it works perfectly. You never have to feel the specific agony of being left by someone you loved. You never have to be blindsided. You stay in control of the ending. But the long-term cost, the slow accumulation of empty spaces where people used to be, is a price that compounds quietly over years. Until one day you look around and realize you've built a life that is exactly safe and exactly lonely. You got what you protected yourself toward. So what's the way out? It starts with recognizing that the alarm system in your nervous system, the one screaming danger every time someone gets close, was installed in a different time, for a different version of your life. It was built when you were small and had no other options, but you are not small anymore, and the people reaching toward you now are not the people who hurt you then. The work isn't learning to trust people overnight, it's learning to slow the automatic response, to notice the urge to push and ask, am I reacting to this person or to the ghost of someone else? It's learning that needing someone doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Letting someone in, even knowing they could hurt you, isn't stupidity, it's courage. The specific, terrifying, necessary courage of someone who has been hurt before and is choosing consciously, deliberately, to try again. Because here's what the research shows, and what no amount of self-protection can change. Human beings are wired for connection, not as a luxury, as a biological necessity. Every wall you build, no matter how well constructed, costs you something your nervous system needs to survive. You were not designed to be alone, you were designed to be safe. And those two things should never have been made to feel like opposites. If something in this landed, if you recognize yourself or a pattern you've been trying to name for years, do one thing right now. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Not to diagnose them, not to fix them, just to say, I see you. There's a reason you do what you do, because the first step out of the loop is knowing the loop exists. Drop in the comments. Do you push people away, or have you been pushed away by someone you know?